Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to Tab G Theory with your host, Gyoza Planet, the little talking gyoza in the corner. And today we're going to be tackling a rather complex topic, but one that is important to pretty much anybody who plays Tab G, and that is how do you deal with somebody who is behind cover? So if you don't know what I'm referring to, there are a lot of times where you are dueling an enemy, both of you have guns, both of you are shooting at each other, and you are here, for example, and they are over there. If you can't, like, I know this is a pretty bad filter, but they are currently in cover. They are inside a building. This counts as cover. Like, you can only see part of them. And if I'm standing all the way over here, I am not in cover. Now, normally, this is really bad for me, and you don't want to be in this scenario because, number one, well, the main reason is I can get shot quite easily. They can't. Why is this? Well, one, there's less of me to shoot, less of them to shoot. If you look here, pretty much everything below their waist is hidden by the windowsill. Now, that's not much per se. It's like a tiny bit of their legs, which isn't that impactful, but still, there are places like if I'm like let's say I'm down here, or even better, let's say I'm over here, suddenly I can only see like the topmost part of their torso, and let's assume I had a gun or something, I could only really shoot their like arm slash chest, whereas if they're standing here looking down, they could probably shoot me just fine, and most of the shots would be headshots because they're looking down. Additionally, um, they are in cover, which means, let's say for example, we shoot each other, each of us shoot each other with two shots with a weapon that does 20 damage. I don't think there currently is one, but okay, let's say we have a magical gun called the Test Gun. It looks like any other rifle, and it does 20 damage. I shoot them for 40 damage, they shoot me for 60 because I'm exposed and everything. Suddenly, and then both of us decide to stop shooting. Suddenly, if I want to heal up and I want to get that health back, I'm kind of limited. I can try and like use a bandage whilst like running around, but I'm slow during the thing and I can't actually pull out a gun without canceling the process, and that takes time because I have to pull out the gun, find the target, start shooting, etc., etc. I could lay down, but you move really slowly during this, and if somebody's standing over here, this is like you're really easy to shoot. This person has it incredibly easy. All they have to do is they go from standing in this window to standing by this wall, or laying down, or standing by this wall, etc. And they move less by moving less than a meter. They suddenly are impervious to all bullets, and they can heal up as much as they want. Now, does this so? Yeah, cover is a very good tool to have. And there are a lot of times in this game where you either need to approach somebody who is in cover because you need to finish off a fight. Let's say it's endgame. There are four people left. The two other people are already fighting, and you're in a duel with somebody else, and you hear the other one, like you hear it finish, and you've seen the kill feed. Somebody died, and the player goes down, and the player count goes down to 3, and you heard them closer to you than the enemy. So let's say I'm standing here, my enemy is standing there, and the gunfight was happening over there, behind that tree. The person over there is going to shoot you first because A, you're out in the open, and B, you're the closer target. To shoot this person is kind of just draws the attention of both of you. But to shoot you, who's standing out in the open with no available cover, and who's occupied with another fight, is quite easy. They just come in, they just swoop in, boom, shoot you, and then go on and shoot this person. So, that So that's an example. Like you hear that and you're like, okay, I need to finish this fight, and so you have to run at them to get to their cover to be able to shoot them. Or sometimes, let's say like, just hold on a minute. Let's say I'm standing back here. This is like the wall or something. This is the zone, and it's moving this way, and my enemy is over there. They got the zone earlier because they dropped out somewhere else, and they happen to get there sooner. They are in cover, I'm not. Except I need to go in that direction, and, well, they're shooting at me, so I need to force them out of cover. Or not even force them out of cover, I just need to get rid of them. Problem is, they had the advantage here. So how do you deal with this? Well, there are 3 types of cover that are readily available in the game. There's there's one-sided cover, so actually hold on, it should be red because that's the enemy. So there's one-sided cover, two-sided cover, and three plus-sided cover. So one-sided cover is cover where you know the enemy can only appear from one direction. As you can see here, that's kind of what the triangle insinuates. Imagine that like this extends. Whoops, that should be. There you go. Imagine that this extends all the way here and they can't walk that way. This person can only shoot you from cover from one direction. They have to move this way to shoot you, and then they move back to get into cover. And for example, what would be a practical example of that? Or like an in-game example. Okay, right here, this corner. So imagine that there were no windows and there's only a doorway here, and this doorway is blocked off or they don't want to go there. This is one-sided cover. The enemy's standing right here. So, yeah, the enemy that would be standing right there. Actually, I'm going to go get a dummy grenade. Hold on. Okay, so we're back. So, this dummy right here, and all dummies in the rest of this episode, will be the quote-unquote enemies in this situation. So, let's imagine I'm standing here and the enemy is standing here. Currently, they have cover. I can't shoot them from this angle. However, this is one-sided cover. There's only one direction which they can appear from and one direction they can go to, and that's this hallway right here. Which I know this. They basically, if they want to shoot me, they have to run out here, and if they want to get the cover, they have to run back here. There's only one path where they can go. Now, this one-sided cover isn't too common in Tab G, and most of the time you'll find it inside of buildings, like staircases, for example, is a good example. Or I suppose a room like this is like if you know somebody isn't over here and they're like just sitting by this piano here, that's one-sided cover. There's one direction out here that they can shoot you from, like that they can go on to shoot you, and then there's only one direction in which they can retreat. That's most of the time where you'll find one-sided cover. Two-sided cover is a lot more often, and if you guys saw the previous Tab G theory, you would recognize this shape. This is the indiscriminate taller than you rock. If you know what I'm talking about, it is that thing over there, or that thing over. No, well, not that. I think that one's a bit too tall, or not tall enough. But basically, two-sided cover is cover that an enemy can appear from either side on. So, case in point, this giant rock right here. This rock I can't actually get on. Okay, well, this rock in specific I can, but most of the rocks are too tall to get on, or you can only get on them from one direction. But it's two-sided cover because I can appear from either side of this rock. I can either run out to the right side, or I can run out to the left side. Now, assuming that these two things weren't there, I can't actually go up top unless I have blessings. But what I talk about does not take into account blessings, so I can either appear from the left side, or I can appear from the right side, and that's about it. But it's still in my advantage because assuming we have somebody. So assuming this guy was running this person was running a straight line towards me, I get to decide where I appear from. So if I, like, they know I'm just behind the rock. They know that I am somewhere vaguely here, but I get to decide if I appear from here or if I appear from here. And then in future times, like, do I appear from here and then I go back there, or do I appear from here and then I go here and then I go here, etc., etc. It's pretty useful. It is like one of the most common types of cover you will find in the game, and it is incredibly useful pieces. Well, it's incredibly useful because it blocks shots and also gives you the advantage in a battle. So that's the second type. The third type of cover is 3+ ways to shoot you from. So this, for example, would be a house. Not this house, not that house, that house. Now, why do I say three or more ways to shoot you? Well, that's because there are 3 more ways to shoot you. So, if somebody is in here and is holding this position, there are multiple ways they can shoot you. They can shoot you from the door, so the middle of the cover. They can jump out here and shoot you from the left side, or from the right side. From the left side, so this is exactly like the rock. They can shoot you from the right side and they can shoot you from the left side. But they can also shoot you from up top. And this is suddenly a lot worse because having high ground in Tab G is incredibly powerful because, well, you're harder to hit. For example, if you see these railings right here, even though you can't really see it in this first-person example, if I throw a dummy down right here, if I'm running across here and I'm trying to shoot somebody up there, it's really not easy to hit them. Now, like, if you see, like, if I'm just hip firing at them, I'm hitting, like, 1 every 10 bullets or something like that. Whereas, if I'm... Ciao. Okay. That's not supposed to happen. It's supposed to, like, actually fling out. Pardon me, I'm not... The dummies are rather unresponsive, so... Let's assume somebody's over there. I can shoot them as much as I want, and it's really, really easy to do so. So that is the thing with like 3+ direction cover, is that it's really, really strong. Additionally, there's actually more than 3 ways to shoot somebody, because I could also get into the attic. Now, the attic isn't great because you're kind of cramped, but I could kind of just like peek my head out here, or if I had a sniper or something, this is really good because I can kind of just keep an eye out on the terrain. If there's somebody over there trying to like shoot me, well, they have to hit like my upper torso / head, and I can see their entire body. And then there's even more cover, because you can, if you can do the parkour correctly, which I cannot, hold on, you can get to the roof, and suddenly this becomes a secondary piece of 2-piece cover. This is basically having like a miniature, like one of these rocks strapped on top of the building, because if I'm right here, the other person can't shoot me. But just like the rocks, I can appear from the right side, and I can appear from the left side, and I get to choose where that happens. So 3 types of cover, and I will go over the 2 most important ones: 2-sided cover and 3+ sided cover today. I'll briefly touch on the 1-sided cover, but most of the time you don't really run into fights like that. Like, I suppose if you have somebody sitting in a corner here and you have to like run into a building, well, so anyways, so that's the 3 kinds of cover. Now, how do we, the player here, actually deal with this, and how do we either approach this, well, basically, yeah, how do we approach this person without getting shot and eliminated? Well, you got a couple ways. For this person who's in the 1-side piece of cover, you've got 2 main ways. Number 1, flank them. Most of the time, 1-sided cover, such as, hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, so if we head back to, also, for demonstration purposes, I have a legendary speed equipped. This is just so I can get around faster. Most of the time, you want to actually have this, and if I'm doing a live demonstration of a strategy, I'm going to unequip it. So, let's say, 1-sided cover. The enemy is around this corner, and I want to get rid of them. Well, there are a couple of ways I can do that. Number 1 is grenades. There are a couple of grenades that are really good for this. For example, implosion grenades are really good because if I throw them, let's say I throw an implosion right here, everything in this area right here will get pulled into the spot here, and they get pulled out of cover. Knockback grenades also do a similar thing. If you can like kind of run around the corner, or if you can like, let's say there you go. Imagine that's a knockback grenade. If that bounces right there, that flings the person all the way like to here, or even through the window, which admittedly that's a bit extreme, but still it gets them out of the cover. What you can also do is you can use certain damage grenades, which I'm going to actually do a live example of these, because these are pretty important. And then I suppose I can also do a better example of these. Dynamite. Fire grenades, yes, definitely. And then we'll need that for later. Volley grenade too, and then shield and healing, and okay. This is mainly prep for the 2 other sections, aka the really important sections of the video. Okay, so we got a ton of grenades. Oh no, the sound is doubled now. Okay, so try and ignore that, but basically, there are multiple damage grenades that you can use to force somebody out of cover here. So, actually, can I just shove this guy? Hold on. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. We have the straw guy here. So this is our enemy. He's hiding around this corner. We can't actually shoot him from where we stand. So we can't shoot him without being in line with fire, because if I were to walk around this corner, they could just shoot me. So, what I can do is I can use those aforementioned grenades. For example, the implosion grenade. See? It pulls him out of cover, and suddenly I can get free shots on him. I can also do the same thing with a knockback grenade, where if I just... Hold on. Let's say I do the same thing and I bounce it off there. They get flung all the way over there. Now this isn't great because they're kind of like slumped over, but this is just an easy opportunity to shoot them. So that's what that's good at. Now, what you can also do is you can use certain damage grenades. This is just to pull him over there for testing purposes. There you go. What? I really wish I had something like the Gmod tool, which like lets you like summon dummies and stuff like that. I think there might be a way to, I just don't know how to do it. Okay, that works. Let's imagine they're just standing in the door frame. Yeah. So what I can do is I can throw certain damage grenades, such as normal grenades and especially splinter grenades, to deal with them. So if I do this and I suddenly duck into cover, this entire area here becomes a danger zone. Now if we are assuming that this door doesn't exist, it's just blocked off, they have one choice. They can either try and tank the grenade, or run out here, directly into our bullets. That's really good. If we happen to have splinter grenades, we can do the exact same thing. If I just fling this here, and then I get into cover, because you have to be really careful with splinter grenades, suddenly this entire area becomes a death hallway. Pretty much nobody is surviving that. So, yeah. Okay, that works. So actually, I'll do a better demonstration here. And then we kind of hide. Wait, what? It hit a dummy over... I don't know how to do... Anyways. Oh, because I think it went out the window. Okay, anyways. So let's try that again. So, let's say they're standing over there. And, I can't... Basically. I can't go around this corner. They'll shoot me. They don't want to go around the corner because I'll shoot them. I can throw a grenade. Run into cover. And they're basically forced to leave that cover. So, yeah. That's honestly... Yay, there we go. So that's the main way to deal with that, is you can use any one of these grenades here. For example, this one right here, this is an implosion grenade. I throw this here. Suddenly, this person pulled out here. And, pew pew, they're dead. Now, the second way to deal with them is by flanking. Them, I said. Which is going around here and then shooting them. If you'll notice, this house right here has windows. And those windows let me get a very clear shot on this other person. Now, the thing with flanking is you have to be careful, because if they notice that you're flanking, they'll get ready for it and then they'll shoot you as you get ready to flank them. But, let's say for example, they're right here. What they can see is out this window and out the doorway. So what I can do is I can go out here, go behind them, and boom, shoot them. Or what I can also do is, let's say that this area is blocked off and I can't do that. I can still jump out this window, go over here. Now, this is for like, you don't actually have to like army crawl past this most of the time, but you can do this. Suddenly they don't know that we've crossed. We can crouch under the window, crouch under this window, and boom, they're dead. So that's the main way to deal with one-sided cover. So, yeah. Not too difficult, honestly. You either use grenades or you flank them. If you also have abilities like, like if there wasn't a roof here and you had airstrike or words of justice or something like that, is also a very good way to force them out of cover. Now, the second kind of cover, and the cover that you'll most likely find in places that don't have the houses, is the two-part cover. The two-sided cover. The two-sided cover, as I mentioned before, is these rocks here. I can appear, and it's two-sided because I can appear from here, shoot, or I can appear from here and shoot. Actually, I'm gonna find a rock that's very tall because these aren't okay. We'll take this rock for example. You can't really get onto it. I mean, you can if you come from here, but actually, if I take off the speed, can I? Okay, I can, but it's not. Okay, hold on. I'll be right back once I find a rock that works. Okay, change of plans. We will not be using the rock because none of these in the firing range actually work. We'll be using this giant pillar as our rock instead. So, the problem, as I mentioned before, with somebody being behind two-part cover is that they get to pick what angle that they can attack you from. They can either pop out from the left side, pop out from the right side, and then they can alternate it depending on how they see fit. If you're over here, this is a problem for you because you don't know where they're going to be, so that means you can't expect them and then shoot at them as they're coming out. And what that means is that they will pretty much always get first shot advantage on you, unless you can pick one of the sides, but then that means you're less prepared for the other one. So pretty much they're always going to get first shot advantage on you. If they hit it or not, that depends on the player, but still, you don't want to give them this advantage. So what can you do? Well, there are a couple of ways to approach. You can approach either defensively or offensively. What do I mean? Well, approaching offensively is using grenades to force them out of cover. The perfect grenades for this are the knockback grenade and the implosion grenade. And then also the, well, hold on. I don't have one, but something like the volley grenade as well. Assuming that it's an open roof, but yeah, okay, maybe not for this if we're using this as reference. So, why are they good at getting rid of somebody behind cover? Well, it's because they're very good at, well, they move the target. What the implosion does is that when you throw it, it pulls people to that area. So, if you have somebody sitting over here, and they're planning on attacking you from this side, they can't anymore because they'll get pulled into the grenade, and you can shoot them. So that means what that means is they either have to sit over here and wait, or they have to attack you from this side. You know this, and you're expecting it. So what that means is that you can be waiting, and now you'll get first shot advantage on them, which is good. This is what you're looking for. Knockback grenade does something similar but a bit different. Whoops, that's not supposed to happen. Okay. Knockback grenade does the same thing, but in a slightly different way. What it does is that when you throw it here at a piece of cover, this entire area within, I think it's 10 meters, not 15. That's a minor mistake on the previous one. This entire area, within about 10-ish meters, becomes a danger zone. If they're standing there, they'll get flung out of cover. This is really, really good because let's say I throw it here. Suddenly, the enemy has to leave cover. They have no choice. They can't. Or I suppose, unlike the implosion grenade where they can just pick a side and either wait it out or still attack us whilst the grenade is going off, if I throw a knockback grenade here, they have no choice. They either have to attack us or they have to suffer the effects of the grenade. And well, that's really, really good because what this means is that during this time, we can be running full steam ahead. So we are either much closer and we can now, we're waiting for this, and they have less of an advantage because we're closer to the cover, because the further away you are from cover, the more effective it is for the enemy. So, we can either, we get closer to cover, so that means we get the first shot, or they, try and run away, which means we can still shoot them. This is really good because, well, they've suddenly lost their advantage, they've lost their power position, and they've lost the ability to get the first shot on us. Now that's attacking offensively. You can also do, you can also do the same thing with the bouncy grenade. Now you might be asking yourself, give us a planet, what the hell are you talking about? The bouncy grenade bounces very loudly, too. How is that going to help us approach somebody in cover? Well, it's because what it does is it makes an area of denial. If you'll watch here, I'm going to throw this forward. Note it. If you've been paying attention, that grenade... Okay, it's still going. Jeez. So, The places where that exploded was right here when it first thrown, there, and then basically the entirety of this ridge line. Now, what would happen if said ridge line happened to be where somebody was standing? Hold on. I should take a tutorial for MS Paint, honestly. So let's say, what happens if that path where the grenade is traveling happens to be exactly where, like where somebody can shoot us? Suddenly, what I've done with a singular bouncy grenade, keep in mind, is I've denied this entire path to this person. And now the enemy is forced to make a choice. They can either, well, basically they're forced to rotate out here and to come out and shoot us from this angle, because they can either stay in cover, which is bad for them, because what I can do is I can take advantage of this and I can just run forward following the grenade. I'm slower than the grenade, so I'm not going to get hit with it, but I know that the enemy, doesn't want to take damage. They're not going to be standing in the path of grenade. They're not going to be standing over here trying to shoot me, because that's a death wish. They're either going to be standing either back here in cover, not doing anything, / healing, etc., or they're going to run out here. This is good for us, because what this means is that the fact that we know that this area is suddenly, okay, hold on. The fact that we know that this entire blue area is suddenly off limits for the enemy is really good, because basically what you're doing is you're making an invisible tunnel of sorts, an imaginary tunnel, and along the path of that tunnel, the enemy won't be there unless they have a death wish, or they have, like, I don't know, a musket or something. In pretty much 95% of scenarios, this tunnel gives you, this quote-unquote tunnel gives you a passageway to approach the enemy. Now, there are two things you can do. And it depends also on what the enemy is doing and how they're playing and everything. But you can either follow the grenade and go through the tunnel, and which is really good, because suddenly you're appearing here, and the enemy is behind cover, so suddenly you've gotten rid of their advantage, and now you're just taking a flat 50-50. 50-50 is a 50% chance to win. It's an even fight. Both of you, there is no inherent advantage. Or, if you're really devious, / if the enemy starts shooting you, you can expect that they're going to be over here, because if they're behind cover here, and they were appearing here, you throw the grenade here, suddenly the tunnel appears, you can't shoot them anymore, or they can't go there anymore to shoot you, they're going to appear the other direction to shoot you, because they think, oh, the other person is focused on throwing a grenade, they're not going to be expecting me. Unfortunately, for them, you are expecting them, because that was the entire point of the grenade. So what you can do is, you've thrown the grenade here, and you're running up here, and you can have your aim focused more or less in this direction. And what this means is that suddenly, when our enemy here appears out of thin air, like they appear from cover to shoot us, we're already looking in this general direction. So, basically, if the enemy suddenly appears here, for imaginary purposes, we're running around here, if you can see, I'm already expecting them to be here. So as soon as I round the corner, and as soon as they imagine that they're walking along here, as soon as they do that, I can start shooting them, because I know that's where they're going to be, because they have no other choices. And that's why the bouncy grenade is, honestly, the bouncy grenade is best as a path clearing tool, more so than it is a deal damage inside of buildings tool. It's still good at that, but this is honestly how I use the bouncy grenade. And if you've seen my gameplay, that's what I do sometimes, is I throw it ahead of me, and then I follow behind the grenade, because the grenade basically makes an imaginary tunnel where the enemies are guaranteed to not be. So, that's attacking them offensively. Now, there are other grenades you can do with this. You can also use something like the bombardment grenade. If they're hiding behind here, or they're hiding over here, well, okay, so clarification, this only works with small pieces of cover / cover that does not have roofs. If they are using something like the pillar, which is, okay, the pillar is a bad example. Let's say they're using this house, so they're either appearing from that side of the house or that side of the house. This isn't really going to work, because the house is going to block most of it. But let's say they have a smaller piece of cover like this thing. If Okay, I'm gonna put this down for demonstration purposes. Let's say I'm running around here. They're standing behind there. What I can do is I can throw this over here, and I can wait. Because suddenly, this entire area, if we rewind a bit, back to our original example, so the tunnel's gone, they're back here. I don't actually have one for the bombardment grenade. Give me a minute. And we're gonna make you purple. Yay. Cool. Okay. So we have a bombardment grenade and everything. The enemy is behind cover. Suddenly, once we throw the bombardment grenade, this does the exact same thing that the knockback grenade does, except even more so, because now it's not just a threat of being launched out of cover, it's the threat of just freaking dying. Because as soon as we throw this bombardment grenade, this area suddenly becomes a no-go zone. Everything within this circle is about to get hit with a lot of high damage explosives that you really can't tank through / dodge. And if they're really good and they landed on top of cover here, like look. Yeah, actually, hold on. I think it's like this big. This entire area becomes a danger zone. They have to leave this area if they don't want to die. It's the same thing as the airstrike. You're basically treat the bombardment grenade like you would an airstrike. You call down an area and the enemy is forced to leave. They're forced to leave because otherwise they're just gonna friggin' die. So that's what that's really good at. And you can do the same thing with a volley grenade to a lesser effect, but the volley grenade has a very small area, so it's less apt at that, or less useful for that. But you can do that with the bombardment grenade. You can also do this with the cluster grenade. If I throw a cluster grenade up here and it lands up there, suddenly, the noob. This is the cluster grenade. I might also so we throw a cluster grenade here. Suddenly, even it's not the same as bombardment grenade. It's not a circular area. It's more so a rectangular area here. Suddenly, this entire area also becomes off limits. It's the same. It's the same as before. It's the airstrike dilemma. It's you either take a ton of damage or you leave. And so, obviously, the enemy is going to be forced to leave. They have to run out from here or they have to run out from here. We know this, or like you know this, you're expecting it, and so you can shoot them as they run out here from their cover. You expect them. Blam blam, they're dead. Now, dynamite I will get into later because dynamite is a bit of a special case because actually, okay, I'm gonna save dynamite because dynamite needs a video of its own because it's an incredibly difficult grenade to like use. So now this is attacking offensively, or yes, no, not attacking, approaching methods. Offensively, we covered this. This is what I've just been talking about. And defensively. Attacking somebody defensively is a bit different from attacking them offensively. Instead of using damaging grenades to force them out of the cover, what we're going to do is we're going to prevent them from shooting us. Now, there are a couple of ways we can do this. Number one, we can deny their vision. What does this mean? Well, what we can do is we can use certain grenades that we have on hand to basically prevent them from actually being able to shoot us. Like, they can't see us, and they don't know where we are, so they, like, even if they do try and shoot at us, they can't land a good shot. Now, there are a couple of grenades that do this. Number one, the one I talked about last in the previous one, and why it's so important, the flashbang grenade. If I throw a flashbang grenade out here and I expect it, and like this imaginary line is me looking at the ground or like going behind cover or something, as soon as we throw a flashbang grenade, basically, normally the enemy can like look at. Normally, like the enemy's area of vision is something like this. Hold on. The enemy's area of vision is something like this from cover. They can see all of this. Suddenly, as soon as we throw this flashbang grenade, this goes away. they have to they can't look out there anymore because they're going about to get flashed with the flashbang grenade. So what can we do with this? Well, what we can do is we can use them as we can throw grenades as we run at them. So let's say about they're behind this cover again. What we can do is we can play kind of, it's basically red light, green light. We can throw a stun grenade, and by the time it's running, we can run over here. And why can we do this? And that's because, like, whatchamacallit, entering and leaving cover takes time. You can't just warp here, warp back. They have to run here, wait for the thing to go off, and then run back out and then look for where we are. So, what we can do during this time is, let's say I start behind this tree. I can throw this, run over here, the thing goes off, and right about now they would pop out. And suddenly I've made it to my next piece of cover. I can go around here, I can like maybe fire a couple warning shots at them, like keep them in cover, and I can throw another one. I throw this, and suddenly I'm behind another piece of cover. And this is good cover because they can't shoot me from either thing. I'm kind of hidden here. And then we can do the same thing. We throw it over there, and then we run to this tree, and suddenly what we've managed to do is by playing basically red light, green light with flash grenades, we managed to get all the way up here. And during that entire process, the enemy has had pretty minimal chance to actually shoot us. And suddenly, once we're here, well, we can do many other things. We can throw down another grenade, we can run around here and shoot them, we can run over here and shoot them, we can, etc. You get the point. What we've done is we've gotten rid of their cover advantage. So that's what you can do with flash grenades, is basically it's red light, green light, but with flash grenades. Now keep in mind, this only really works if there's a lot of open cover, or if you have other grenades you're going to use alongside it. If you're just throwing flashbangs as you run across an open field, waiting for them to go off and everything, your chances of success are a lot lower. Because, admittedly, you don't have cover you can hide behind when it goes off between the delay of the grenade going off and then you pulling out another one and throwing it. So ideally you want to do this when there's cover. So like, let's say there's an imaginary box right here, there's an imaginary box right here, and then there's an imaginary box right here. Drat, hold on. Okay. Yeah. If only there was something like a better MS Paint. Anyways. So basically, for my example, let's say we have a box right here, we have a small rock right here, like small, not that small, small rock right here, and then we have like a tree right here or something. Now, what we can do is we can basically go here, we throw the flashbang out here, we run to this piece of cover, we wait, flashbang goes off, poof, it's disappeared. Okay, what do? We throw another flashbang, we run to the next piece of cover. So that's red light, or actually that would be green light. Red light, whoops, red light, flashbang goes off, we have to wait. Green light, we throw another flashbang, we run to their piece of cover, red light, flashbang goes off, we've basically nullified their entire advantage. This is the main way to approach somebody if you have a ton of flash grenades, or even if you have like 2 or 3, you can still like do this sprint from here all the way to here. You might get shot, but you can do returning fire. You can like shoot them as they're shooting you, and like have them like maybe go back into cover. Basically, what it does is that if you imagine like a timeline of sorts, where like this is basically the start is like the start of the fight, and then the next one is like the end of the fight. What you're doing with the flashbang is you're basically reducing the windows that they have to shoot you. So like suddenly this area right here. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. Jeez, hold on. Give me a minute, please. So let's say basically timeline, okay? From like the start of the game, like the start of the fight to the end of the fight. There's going to be windows of opportunity, like let's say right here to right here, and then like right here to right here, and then like right here all the way to the end. These are going to be filled in green, and then The green areas are basically when can the enemy shoot you. These are like moments in the fight where you're out in the open, you're shooting them, etc. These are the times that the enemy has to shoot you. Will they deal damage? Will they not? Will they get lucky? Will they not? Doesn't matter. This is just how the timeline goes for a match. What you're doing with the flashbang grenades is suddenly you're cutting off a huge chunk of this time. We're putting, if you notice here, we're putting huge dents. Suddenly, this entire area right here is cut off. We've taken this window of opportunity. We've cut it in half. Here we've taken out about a third. Here we've taken out, or that's like a quarter, and here we're taking out about a third. And what this does is basically the less opportunities and the less time the enemy has to shoot us, that's better, because once we actually make it to them and once we get rid of their cover advantage, then we can just take a 50-50 fight, and it's just basically how well can you aim. But during this entire timeline of when can they shoot us when they're in cover, using flashbang grenades takes chunks off of that, and that's what we want. Now, that's flashbang grenades. What you can also do to quote unquote prevent their vision is there are three ways to do this with the three main defensive grenades. These would be the wall grenade, the smoke grenade, and the shield grenade. Now, the smoke grenade, if you don't know what the smoke grenade does, is basically you throw it and it turns into a very big cloud of smoke, as the name would suggest. Shockingly, I know. So, ta-da! Suddenly, we throw this down and this entire area is blocked off with smoke. There you go, smoke. Now, the actual area itself isn't that big. The smoke grenade doesn't last too long, and the area it covers is kind of minimal, honestly. Actually, yeah, there you go. And poof, the clouds disappear. So, it's a decently sized area. It's okay. But the main thing is that, if you remember from previously, the enemy has a cone of vision. This is where they can look. And what you can do with this is you can suddenly slice off a huge cone, or a huge chunk of their cone. So if we say that, okay, hold on. Actually, I'm gonna make this thing a bit smaller. Give me a minute. So, enemy cone of vision, right there. Let's say we throw a smoke grenade. Nope. Smoke grenade right here. What this suddenly does, and it goes off. What this suddenly does is that we have put a we have blocked off an area of their vision cone. Suddenly this area here is blocked off. What this also means is that we can sneak by them. So if you notice here, basically, if I walk over here, I'm inside the cone, they can see me. If I'm here, I'm still inside the cone, but I'm behind the smoke grenade, they can't see me. What this means is that I can use the edge of the smoke grenade here. As you see, I walk, and suddenly I'm over here. If we pay attention to the cone, they can't actually see me here. Even though I'm all the way far away from the smoke grenade, I managed to use the smoke grenade to get around them. And so I can go here and I can get the cover, and the enemy's probably going to realize this, and they're really like, oh crap. And so the smoke grenade goes away, we have made it to cover, and they're like, ah crap, I'm about to be in a fight. And so, hold on. Nope. And so suddenly they're like, ah, crap, I'm in a fight. And so they'll turn their cone of vision, and then let's say we're standing over here. We're inside the cone now. They can see us. We start shooting at each other. What this did is that we took advantage of basically, it's like putting up an imaginary wall. It's like the tunnel from before, but instead of going towards, basically, what the bouncy grenade does is that it makes a tunnel that goes towards the enemy, and it prevents them from being in that location whilst it's traveling. What the what the smoke grenade does is that it makes an imaginary wall like that across the field of the enemy, and what this does is that this prevents them from seeing us, and it also prevents them from knowing what we do, because what we can do is, well, we could do what we just did, where we that would be me, where we walk up here and we go around here. And so, like, let's imagine this is a smoke grenade. I know it's a bar here. This is for demonstration purposes. In game, it will be like a spherical mostly. What we can do is we can go over here and we can do what I just mentioned, where we walk over here and boom, we like appear here. But what we could also do is we could just run at them. We can appear from this side of smoke. They're not expecting that. Hold on, please. Sorry about that. We can suddenly just run out of the smoke. We can just like run out of here. They're not expecting that. They're most likely expecting, well, they might be expecting that, but they're probably going to expect us to appear from somewhere like that would make a bit more sense, like, well, either from the other side of the cover here, so like over here, or maybe like right here where like we can easily go to cover. No, we're just running at them straight on. Just, and suddenly they're not expecting that, because once they see the smoke grenade go down, they might spam it a bit, but they're probably going to like heal up / get ready, because admittedly, once we throw down a smoke grenade, we can't see through it either. But that's fine for us. We don't care that we can't see the enemy. We already are at a disadvantage because the enemy, if I remind you, the enemy is sitting behind cover. They have the advantage right now. So, them being able to see us or not, we don't, like, us not being able to see them, this is fine, because right now we can't see them. It's a bummer, yes, but if you'll bear with me for a moment, we couldn't see them anyways. So, like, hold on. From here, like, yeah, the smoke grenade there blocked vision to them. I can already still barely see this person. They have a clear line of sight on me. I can't see them in anyways. So what you're basically doing is you're evening the fights. You're evening the fight. Because currently in this person, let's say this person has a 70% advantage, and you have a 30% advantage because they have cover, and they can see you, and you can only see a certain chunk, like a certain portion of their body. What the smoke grenade does is that suddenly it makes this whole thing a 50-50. It forces equality, basically, between the two of you. Both of you are at disadvantage, both of you don't know where the enemy is, and you can't see the enemy. This is good, because what we can do is that we've suddenly gotten rid of their advantage, given us a free advantage, because normally, right here, we are at a 70-30 losing. So what we did here is we got rid of the 20% advantage they had, we got back a 20% advantage. Nope. And then what we can do is we can do pretty much anything with this. We can run at them, we can try and get to cover, we can even throw, like, this is another good thing, we still have other grenades. We could, for example, throw a knockback grenade from here and then run somewhere else, because suddenly we throw a knockback grenade at them, and what is that good at? Well, if we throw a knockback grenade here, for example, suddenly this is even worse for the enemy, because on top of having to leave the cover, they don't know where we are. Because normally they like have an idea from like the angle, or like they can look out and see us, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna run over here. They have no clue where we are. We could be right here, like right next to the grenade, about to shoot them as soon as they get hit. We could be right here by the smoke. We could be on the other edge of the smoke, getting ready to shoot them. Or even better, we could just be running away. We could just completely leave the fight. Or we could get to like another piece of cover here. So that's why smoke grenades are really, really good at approaching enemies. This is a similar thing. Now, the third way to approach somebody is by just preventing them from shooting you. And this is where wall grenades and shield grenades come in handy. Wall grenades are the slightly worse, are the less effective version of the two. Mainly because they are incredibly narrow, as you see here. They don't really, like, they're not very big, and they don't last that long. So, however, they do work as cover. So what you can do is, basically, if you remember the little red light, green light example that I was using for the flash grenades, you can do the exact same thing, except instead of flashing the enemy, you're instead of flashing the enemy and going between cover, you're just putting down the cover yourself. So we run out here, we make a little box. Hold on, the box disappeared. We run, so red light, we throw down the box. Green light, we run ahead. Red light, we throw down the box, we heal a bit, we reload our guns. Green light, we run forward, maybe we shoot them a bit. Red light, we throw down another box, we stop, we shoot them. Green light, we run ahead. And now we've suddenly gotten to their cover. It's the same thing, but instead of having the danger of the flashbang grenade be what prevents them from shooting us, we're just basically making a structure that says you can't shoot me. Now, with the shield grenade, it's a bit different because if you'll notice here, this is a temporary wall. I can't shoot through this. I can't run. Actually, hold on. I can't shoot through this. I can't run through this. It's a solid structure. But the shield grenade isn't. The shield grenade is a dome, and it has two big advantages over the wall grenade. I can shoot through it, and I can see through it everywhere. Except, you can't shoot through the wall. You can't shoot through the shield grenade at all. You also. Wait, hold on. What? Hold on. I can't remember if you can throw grenades through this. I don't think you can. Okay, maybe you can throw grenades through your own shield grenade, but I'm pretty sure normal shield grenades block grenades and everything, whereas the walls here, like, they might throw, like, they might do the same thing to you. They might throw an implosion grenade or a knockback grenade whilst you're running at them. With shield grenades, if we rewind here, we're back at the start of the red light, green light process. What we can do here is that we can run ahead a bit, and we can throw down a shield. It's not this big, hold on. However, what we can do during this time is we can shoot back at the enemy. We can put pressure on the enemy. So, it's red light, we throw down a shield. Green light, we start shooting at the enemy. Obviously, the enemy does not want to get shot, so they're going to duck back into cover. And even better, if we manage to get like 1-2 hits with our imaginary tusk gun, let's say we get 2 hits, that's 40 damage. Most of the time, they're gonna stop, heal up, maybe use 1 bandage, maybe 2, or relax or something, and they're also gonna run out of ammo. They're probably gonna need to reload. So we can what can we do? Well, we can run ahead again. Green light, red light, we throw down another shield grenade. We do the exact same thing. We shoot them a bit. We maybe throw a couple of grenades at them. We put pressure on them. And what this pressure does is that it buys us time. It buys us time and it buys us an advantage because we can approach them. And then suddenly, green light again, we've made it to the enemy. Ta-da! So, that's the main way to deal with somebody who has two-sided cover. Or, like, yeah. Is you can either, basically, either you get them out of the cover or you prevent them from hitting you as you're getting to their cover. Now, admittedly, what you can also do, personally, I recommend this for most people who, for pretty much most people, if you find it, is, there is a very, very easy way to skip all of that, and I will tell you right now, it is the Airstrike Blessing. Because what does the Airstrike Blessing do? Well, it's basically a free bombardment grenade on a 60-second cooldown. Now, the great thing is about this is that it does both things at the same time. Because, number one, the enemy can't shoot you because they have to run. And number two, if they don't leave the area, they're about to get hit with a lot of damage. So, yeah, it's basically a free renewable bombardment grenade. And the best thing is that the timer still ticks down when it's in your inventory. So, you don't even have to have it equipped. You can use it, store it, swap in like a speed blessing or a healing blessing or something like that. And then, like, I'll keep talking for a bit and you'll see that it'll go back up as soon as I re-equip it. And then, yeah. So, basically, that's the main ways to approach somebody inside of who is at two-sided cover, is we can either force them out, we can either force them to leave the cover via damage or like a knockback / implosion grenades, or like through something like the Airstrike Blessing. Words of Justice can also do this. Bombardment grenade, which is kind of like the other two, but yeah. Or what we can do is we can basically prevent them shooting us as we approach. We can either do this with the red light, green light game, red light, green light method that you can use this with flashbangs, with wall grenades, and with shield grenades, or you can basically block their vision with the smoke grenade. Now that's 2-piece cover. 3-piece cover is a lot more complicated because actually, as I was talking, that airstrike is back, and suddenly we have another get people out of cover button ready to go. So personally, anytime I see airstrike and I happen to have I have an opening for it and I'm not carrying around incredibly important grenades, I take it because there are times where it has actually really helped, and even if I don't get a kill, I might either get damage on somebody, which forces them to stop fighting and to heal, or sorry, minor water break. Or it forces them to leave their cover, which is really good for us. So, the problem with 3-piece cover, 3+ piece cover, is that it is difficult to actually get somebody off of 3-piece cover. And the reason is that they are at a very big advantage. And the reason is the 3rd piece of cover. Because having high ground in this game is an incredibly invaluable thing. I talk about this constantly. I forgot that did that. I was just trying to drop it. Anyways, as I was saying, having high ground in this game is an incredibly powerful tool. And if I'm standing here, I can't really take much damage, and I can deal a lot of damage. So, our little testing dummy right here. How do we deal with this person? Well, it's a bit different. Mainly because we have to change our methods a bit. And also we have to change what grenades we use. So, let's say they are, hold on. I'm gonna grab a, there we go. So, shrink them down a bit. Beep-a-doop. Whoop, hold on. Okay, there we go. So they are standing on the balcony. It's not these are the supports of the balcony, and that's the doorway, and that's the attic. Yeah, it's not 1-to-1. I'm not trying to do 1-to-1 here. I'm trying to make it point. So, they are there on the little balcony. We are down here. How do we approach them? Well, let's look back at what we have. What can we use? Well, we have an implosion grenade. Would that help us? Unfortunately, no, actually. Implosion grenade is really bad against 3-piece cover. Mainly because most of the time, the person can just get back into, get behind the solid surface and can't do much about it. For example, if I throw an implosion grenade up here, up on the balcony, which I will do in a moment. Congratulations, I landed very... Okay, that actually overshot a bit. There you go. Well, first off, it's kind of difficult to land these on the balconies themselves. Yeah, they just keep landing on the ground instead. So first off, it's kind of difficult to actually hit somebody, and second off, it's not going to do much because let's say I am this person, and I have an implosion grenade land here, or maybe here, where it can still hit my legs. So I think, actually, I'm pretty sure this can still pull me off. Well, no, actually, hold on. There we go. That's straight down. Yeah, that can't hit me. So most of the time, it's not going to hit me. So, you're better off saving your implosion grenades, honestly. You're probably not going to hit the person, and there's a higher chance that you just hit yourself. So, implosion grenades kind of out of the question. What about knockback grenades? Well, knockback grenades actually make a comeback now, because unlike the other ones, knockback grenades are actually really good at dealing with people on high ground. I talked about this in my previous video, and can that hit me? No, it can't, but let's say I throw it somewhere down here. Not quite, hold on. Okay. Well. Nope. Still. Let's say I managed to, throw a long toss grenade. Suddenly, this person is in a lot of trouble, because they have a couple of choices. Let's say I managed to land a grenade, somewhere on the actual balcony itself, or, kind of it explodes midair as they do. see. Actually, yeah, let's say I do something like that and it explodes in midair. Suddenly, they're in a lot of trouble because they have a couple, or actually, so let's say I'll manage to land a good throw and it explodes right about right here. Suddenly, this person, or like here-ish, midair, like right there, so right here, where the grenade is currently being held. Well, suddenly they have a couple of problems because they can't stand out here because they're still going to get clipped by the grenade, so they either have to try and parkour up the building, which is good. This gives us time to shoot them. Actually, hold on. So yeah, basically, what happens if we throw an implosion grenade, or a knockback grenade at them? Well, they got a couple of options. They can either go up into the attic. This is good. We can shoot them during this process. And also, if they are cornered now, can they go out the other window? Yes, but we can heal up, and we can use other grenades during this time. However, if it lands here, suddenly this entire area is off limits. They have to drop all the way down, or they have to jump off the balcony. What have we done? We have gotten rid of, well, nope, hold on. That's supposed to be select tool. Suddenly, what we have done is we have gotten rid of their cover, and we have gotten rid of their high ground. So suddenly we're back to a 50-50. And even better, this entire time that the grenade's been flying through the air and, like, about to explode, we're waiting. We're expecting. We know that they have to make a choice, and most of the time the choice is a bad choice. So, they're going to probably jump down at us. Etc. So they either have to jump down from high ground and from cover, they have to go up to the attic, or they have to, like, run downstairs. Whatever happens, this is good for us. We've gotten rid of their high ground, and we've gotten rid of their advantage. And this entire time, we can also, on top of waiting for them, we can run at them. So, that's really, really good. What about damage grenades? Well, some of them are useful, some of them aren't. Unfortunately, the bouncy grenade is not super useful here, because I mean, if we manage to get, like, a good hit right there on the person, that's nice and all, but the grenade just kind of does whatever it wants. Dynamite, if we can get it to land up there, dynamite is actually a decent option here, because what we can do is that if we can get it to land up top, which is a big if. Basically, if we can get if we can get dynamite to land up here on the balcony, it's pretty dang strong because it's a lot of damage and it forces them off, but don't bet your hopes on it. So, what else? So, let's rewind. They're back on the balcony. They have high ground. Well, volley grenade, unironically, is actually pretty decent here because if we throw that, assuming I was a bit closer, this entire area gets peppered with arrows. Or even better, if we can get it, like, right under here into that, like, arch. Okay, no, that's a bit low. Hold on. There you go. That's perfect. No. Really? Hold on. There we go. That nails that entire upper balcony with arrows. Those arrows deal a lot of damage. I'm pretty sure it's like 50 per or something. Nobody's gonna stand from that. So they either have to jump out to the side, or they have to, or same thing as before, they have to go inside. Now it's not as dramatic as knockback. They can kind of just go in here and wait it out, but that still gives us a window of opportunity to run forward and then use something like maybe like a smoke grenade, or actually, well, hold on, I'll get the smoke grenade, but like it's a pretty good option. Splinter grenade, well. Maybe. If you can land a splinter grenade through the doorway or something, most of the time shots will ricochet through, and some of them, like, do actually go out the doorway, so there is a decent chance of hitting them. And also, splinter grenades are incredibly unpredictable, so there is a decent chance that they will just jump off the balcony of their own free will, because they don't know if they're going to take 2 damage, 20 damage, or 200, because it's a splinter grenade. Cluster grenade, I'm not sure. Not quite. Hold on. What happens if it detonates like mid-air or mid-bounce? Okay. Wait. Okay, so you have a decent chance of hitting them. You might actually hit them, but yeah, it's the same as before. Bombardment grenade, eh. Like, I mean, you might, yeah. It's a lot of damage. There's no guarantee that I'll actually hit them though, and also bombardment grenades are incredibly rare, so there's no good chance. The standard grenade, yeah, honestly, it's a pretty good thing. Like, if you can angle it right, you can get it to detonate right above them, and it's pretty big damage. So there's that. And now the one damage grenade that I haven't actually talked about today or so far. This guy, the fire grenade. Now, the fire grenade is a very interesting grenade because unlike every other damage grenade, A, it explodes on impact, and B, it does damage through walls. If you don't know what it does, basically it summons a giant fiery area. And everything in this area gets absolutely torched for a pretty hefty amount of damage. Now, normally this is good if you have somebody who's sitting inside of a house. What do we have right here? Somebody sitting pretty much inside of a house, slash right next to a house. So what we can do is we can throw this at them. Now that, for example, is just a really good throw, but what does this do? Well, it works like a smoke grenade and a damage grenade at the same time, because suddenly, pretty much the entire house is off limits, so we can run at them, and so, well, it does a couple things. Number one, it's very high damage, so they are forced to leave the area, because otherwise they're just going to burn. Number two, it's a very large area. As you can see there, the attic is on fire, and pretty much the entire house is on fire right now, so they have to jump out the side windows or jump out towards us. And number three, which actually I will bring up the snowstorm grenade because you can do, it's not great at it, but it does block vision. Like, it's kind of difficult to see somebody through this, so you can just kind of run around here, wait for them, and then just like jump through the window and start shooting them. This is one of the main reasons why if you ever see me play, I tend to keep my fire grenades for endgame, is because in endgame there are usually a lot of people like who have three level plus who have 3+ cover, or 3 piece, like they have the 3 cover plus, they are in those buildings or near them or on top of them or something. And this is a really good way to not only get them to leave, but basically buy me time to get to them without having to spend a ton of like healing grenades and stuff like that. Now, you can also do the same thing with the snowstorm grenade. The snowstorm grenade isn't as effective per se because it doesn't deal that much damage, but if like you can also like you can just kind of like sprint at them shooting like this. Like, you can shoot for a bit and then run at them, and it's a pretty good deterrent because most of the time they might they'll probably panic a bit because if you get caught in a snowstorm grenade, you're kind of dead. If the enemy has can hit more than 15% of their shots, and considering the fact that you're moving slower, can't jump as high, and also have your location revealed to you, revealed to them because of the hit markers, they have a pretty good idea of where you're going to be. So that's for damage grenades. What about defense grenades? Well, yeah, it's iffy. You can do the same trick with flashbangs as you can the other one. You just have to kind of arc them into the air and hope that they pop. And this one is actually a decent amount more effective because if you'll notice here, aside from just looking away, which admittedly they might do, to actually get into cover, they can't just go left or right, which you can do with a rock. They actually have to turn around, go into cover, and wait for it to go off. And then they have to come back out here. So this buys you a bit more time to actually move forward. As for the wall grenade, well, it's actually pretty good at this. The wall grenade is tall, very tall. So you can do the same red light, green light as before. You just have to be a bit careful because they are probably going to hit a couple more shots. Or, hold on. Or, if you're feeling incredibly adventurous, you can kind of just throw the grenade at them. And, yeah. They can't really do much here. If they get caught outside, that's nice and all, but they're kind of stuck there, and they're going to get pulled backwards once the thing starts shrinking. And let's say you manage to hit, the back wall or something. This is incredibly inconvenient to anybody who's standing here. You can't shoot somebody like this. You're like half exposed. You can like barely move. It's really, really unpleasant. So you're probably going to lower their accuracy a decent amount, and that also buys you time. Shield grenade, well, same thing. You can either use the shield grenade yourself, which is good because it's a dome, and you can also shoot back at them. This is also really good. This pairs with the other ones. If you have like shield grenade plus fire grenade or something like that, this can give you enough time to like throw it, or like even like shield grenade plus knockback grenade. Let's say I throw down the shield grenade, like let's say I heal a bit, and I throw a knockback grenade. I can do that. Poof! It goes off, and this entire time I've been completely safe in my little bubble. And then that goes off, and I can suddenly run at them. And now actually I have less distance to run them before than with just the knockback grenade. Admittedly, you can also do the same thing as I mentioned with the wall grenades. You can kind of just throw it at them. Although, actually, no. Hold on. No. I forgot. Okay, so for reference, one of the other games I play, there are some other games I play. One of them has a dome shield ability that you can't shoot through from either side. In TabG, the opposite. Do not throw shield bubbles at your opponents. You are helping them. This is a terrible idea. Although, admittedly, if you happen to have like a fire grenade or something, you can make them think, and then you can throw the fire grenade afterwards, and it just goes through your bubble, and so they're not at all safe. Yeah. Smoke grenade, well, it's the same thing as the other two defensive grenades. This is pretty good. That'll block most of the vision. Hold on. Let's see. Can I get up top before it dissipates? Yeah. Yeah, this blocks a decent amount of vision right here. Like, if there was somebody running across here, assuming there's, like, a second smoke grenade, or, like, if there's somebody right here, I couldn't tell if they went to the right here, they stayed there, or if they are just running forward. However, what you can also do, and this one is really, really effective, is you can throw the smoke grenade at them. And the additional interesting thing of the smoke grenade is that it technically goes off mid-air. If you'll notice here, it starts dissipating smoke after a time, not when it's hit the ground. So, even if I mess up my throw a little bit, like let's say I aim it way too high, suddenly I've made myself a little plume of smoke. I can just run forward during this. They can't see me. They don't know where I am. So they either have to... So basically, they're over here. I throw the smoke grenade. Poof. And let's say I miss a bit and it only hits like right here. Okay, that's fine. However, suddenly the enemy is at a bit of a dilemma because they can't actually see me because of, as I mentioned before, the giant plume of smoke that's going off. Like, even if I mess up the throw and like I just aim it too high or something, suddenly those little things buy me time. So right now the enemy either has to jump down to be able to shoot me, or they have to go back inside to the low ground to shoot me. Except now there's a smoke grenade there, so they probably have to jump out the sides. So that's the main way to do it. Anyways, now admittedly in this scenario airstrike isn't as useful unless they're on the roof, because airstrike doesn't go through buildings. However, it can be a pretty good deterrent if they're on the balcony. Oh right, fun fact, you can also just kind of chuck blessings like frisbees. Yeah. Anyways, not what I meant to do. So, what you can do is you can kind of just... So what you can do is you can use it similar to you can make yourself like a mini tunnel, sort of. Like the earlier example of the bouncy grenade, and there's also a decent chance that they'll get hit with like some of the residue explosions, so they're still gonna run inside. And really, it's not as great for you because you also get hit by explosions. You also take a lot of damage from them, so yeah, there's that. It's definitely an option, but honestly, I'd say just save your fire grenades and stuff for this. But yeah. So that's the main way to approach people in cover. There are 3 types of cover. Most of the time, you're not going to really run into this one, the first kind, unless you're having a lot of fighting in buildings. Most of the time, you can also just kind of like do movement tricks on somebody. You can kind of just like flop midair, or like kind of just like, you can also just like run past them. Like, let's say like legendary speed's an exaggeration. Let's say I like blue speed or something. I could just kind of run past them and just start shooting and everything. And like if I'm midair, diving and everything, they'll be a bit difficult to hit. But yeah, basically to recap, for example, one, use grenades. Either use grenades or try and flank them. For example, two, you can either use offensive grenades, so this is like damage grenades and stuff like that, to either force them out of cover. So you can either use damage grenades slash knockback and implosion to either force them out of cover, like I was showing, or do something or in a similar or use something like the bouncy grenade to make yourself like a quote unquote tunnel in which you can approach them. You can also use defensive grenades to basically either block off their vision, so like smoke grenades for example, so they don't see you, they don't know where you're going, or you can do the little red light green light game to like the little red light green light game to approach them with whilst taking as little damage as possible. And for 3-story cover, most of your grenades, basically you just need to change how you use grenades. Most of the defensive grenades, minus the shield grenade, do not throw the shield grenade at the other people. Most of your defensive grenades, you can still do the same red light, green light, and everything. Smoke grenades, some are actually now a lot more valuable because if you throw them like in an arc, it'll land in front of them and it'll give you like a couple seconds to speed, to just run at full speed towards them. But you can also use damage grenades and especially fire grenades. Fire grenades are really, really, really good for this. This is like the key use of them is to get people out of cover. You can also use things like volley grenades and like a knockback grenade if you manage to land like a very good knockback grenade on like even midair. Hold on. What's the fuse time on this? There we go. Like even if you manage to like if I'm let's say I'm hiding behind this tree, I pop out, pew. That's still gonna fling them. It buys you time to like get close. So there's that. So yeah, you can also use like a good chunk of your damage grenades won't be as effective here unless you're really really good at throwing and you can land them directly on the balcony slash inside here in this little section here. You can do that with splinter grenades. It works well. You can also do that with like a bouncy grenade. It works well. Most of the time, save your fire grenades, save your volley grenades, and save your smoke grenades for this kind of scenario. But yeah. Now, admittedly, disclaimer, there is a lot more nuance to it. It depends on what weapons the enemy has, because if they have like an assault rifle versus a sniper, you'll want to change it up a bit. Like if they have a sniper, you're probably going to want to go with the defensive method of like the red light, green light, and like smoke grenades a lot. Like you want to use smoke grenades a lot because with the offensive one, they could just kind of like turn a corner and like either kill you instantly with a headshot or deal a lot of damage to you. Whereas with an assault rifle, or if they're running like some machine gun, shotgun, two submachine guns, some like two close range weapons, you can use the like flush out method because then it's even worse for them because now they're stuck at a range that they're really bad at and you're better at. But overall, this is the general gist of how to deal with it. It's not that complicated. What you can also do is you can kind of just shoot them. You can gamble that you're a better shot than them. I personally don't recommend this. I say use blessings you have, use grenades you have and everything. And all of that to basically lower the chances of you potentially dying. Now, for actual blessings, there isn't much that's going to help you here. Speed is always good because it's speed. Shield is also pretty dang good because it tanks damage for you. Well, all of these are good. Relax is really really good. Like if you have relax and you do a red light green light, it's incredibly powerful because you can heal a lot of health in those like mini pauses. Poison is alright because you'll deal damage over time and actually poison is pretty good because like let's say you hit them with poison damage, you know what side they're going to be on because you can follow the hit markers, so that's pretty good. It can like save you a grenade or two. Jump is also pretty good because it'll make you more difficult to hit, and you can also just go over the cover, which is really good if you're dealing with two-piece cover. Bonus health is bonus health. Dash is also pretty good because you can cover large ground quickly. It's really good for the red light, green light. Max health is max health. Cardio is just another form of healing. Speed is also really good because the faster you are, the more difficult you are to hit. Storm is also pretty good because if you manage to land a couple of like decent shots and you get the meter built up pretty high, most players are gonna duck back into cover because, well, they're about to get hit with the Storm Bolt. And admittedly, the Storm Bolt only does 40 damage. Like, most of the time you can heal that slash ignore it if you're a good shot. But most people don't really know that. They just know that they get hit with Storm and then they die. So, yeah. But yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you deal with people in cover. Now, keep in mind, this isn't a comprehensive guide. This is a generalized guide. Every single scenario will be unique because that's how TabG works. But yeah, this is why I recommend carrying around grenades. Not 900 grenades, obviously. That's kind of extreme, but also I don't even think it's possible to have 900 grenades in the game. But carrying around a variety of grenades is incredibly useful for this. For example, smoke and stun grenades are some of your best tools when approaching an enemy in cover. But I've seen a lot of people say that they're really bad. They are not. It's just that most people take the maniac approach to approaching somebody in cover, which is basically, it's gambling. They're gambling. I have better movement and I'm a better shot than my enemy. And a good chunk of the time, well, whilst they might get away with it like in their clips and montages and everything, because in that scenario it's true, I will bet you a sizable amount of money that there are there's at least more than once where they've done that exact strategy and they just get absolutely pummeled because their gamble failed. And so what you're doing is basically taking this gamble and you're turning it into calculated wins. But yeah. But anyways, I hope this episode of TabG Theory helped. Yeah. This was honestly not as complicated as I thought it would be. Because I remember planning this a while back and I was like, oh, this is going to be a difficult one. It's not that difficult. It's just that, basically, be prepared and, well, actually, I suppose basically the general idea boils down to the timeline thing I mentioned earlier. Your enemy has windows during the game where they can act and they can shoot you and deal damage to you from cover. And basically what you want to do is you want to minimize these. So, this, all of these red areas are, for example, areas where I've used grenades, used abilities and everything, and I've caused the enemy to not be able to shoot me. And now, every single one individually isn't much, but it adds up, and what it could be is that, instead of taking, let's say this right here is 2 bullets. Nope, hold on. Let's say this right here is 2 bullets. This right here is 2 bullets. This right here is 2 bullets. 1, 1, 1, and 1. Instead of being 6, 10. Instead of taking 10 bullets here, I only take 5. Well, no, actually it's a bit more than 5. It's 6. I take 40% less damage during this thing because all these are red segments are areas where I use grenades or other things to limit the amount of damage I can take. And let's say that somebody's shooting you with a 10 damage gun. Going into a fight with 1 health versus going into a fight with 40 health is a pretty big difference. Now, admittedly, you're still at 40 health, but anyways, I hope this guide helped. I know it's pretty confusing, but you can always come back to it. You can always go through and if you're ever if you've tried let's say you try using the bouncy grenade and to approach people and it doesn't really work, you can go back and rewatch that section to see. Also, if there's a specific grenade that I kind of glossed over or I explained but you still don't get it, let me know in the comments. Actually, yes, please do let me know in the comments if there's a specific grenade or strategy or something that wasn't very clear to you, because I will definitely make a follow-up to this, maybe at the start of another Gaming with GeozaPlanet video, maybe as a separate add-on video, because I understand that it makes sense. This is a very difficult topic to comprehend. Alright, my aim is a bit lacking. But yeah. Anyways, thank you all for watching today's TabG Theory. I'm GeozaPlanet, and I hope you have learned something. Ciao!